Hello guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. This is Lazy Admin, and in today's video we are going to talk about virtual F5 setup on VMware Workstation. Before we dive into the configuration part, let's discuss why we would require a load balancing solution or an F5 in a particular case. Suppose you have website or an application that is running on multiple servers where you have a need to load balance the client request on your servers. In this case, you would require a load balancer. In a normal scenario, I could say we could use HA proxy, we could use any other open source solutions out there. But in particular example, why we are using F5, we'll get into that. Uh, well, F5 is a well-known enterprise grade load balancing solution, but it's not only a load balancing solution, but it works as a web access firewall. So what you get with F5 is load balancing as well as WAF. And in F5 case, it's called AWAF, that is Advanced Web Access Firewall. The load balancing module here is being called LTM, and it's very famous, and F5 is one of the top niche players in the market that are offering the solution for to protect as well as for the proper load balancing for enterprise grade application and all that. Let's talk about the solution itself. Let me take you to the website f5.com, and here you can see they offer F5 in different platforms. Like you can get a big IP virtual edition that you can deploy on premises in your premises, or you can take as per deployment model. You can take F5 on Amazon Web Services or any cloud or Google Cloud, Microsoft Azure, and as a service, you can run it as a service as well, or you can just go and buy a hardware. That we will discuss in later videos. So that's not the part. Like this is the hardware of F5 that is called F5 Big IP I series platform, and basically they offer quite a good range from starting from low end to higher end data centers. So like big IP i10,000 series and i5,000 series and i7,000 series. So small to large organizations. So let's go back to the software edition, that is big IP F5 virtual edition. So in this video, we are going to deploy Big IP Virtual Edition in a VMware environment. Uh, and how we are going to do it, we will see it in a couple of minutes. So why people are adapting to F5 is because in the threat landscape nowadays, it has become a really vital to protect your applications from the attackers, from the hackers. So Big IPF5 not only offers you with LTM, that is a load balancing solution, but as well it offers you with advanced web access firewall that it can protect you from OWASP top 10 list, web application list. So basically, what is OWASP? Well, the OWASP is a foundation that every 4 years or so releases a list of top 10 vulnerabilities that the web application faces. Web applications get hacked all the time. So this top 10 list is injections, broken authentication, sensitive data exposure, XML and external entities, and so on. You can find all the list on wasp.org. So what we get from F5 is that we can deploy it in as a AWAF, and it's going to protect us from all of these top 10 vulnerabilities. That will make our life a lot easier. So let's get to the F5 setup that I have been showing here. So in our lab setup, what we are going to do is we have VMware Workstation where we are going to deploy two F5s in HA. You can deploy a standalone as well. So we are going to two F5, configure an HA between them. And what we are going to use is a management network, an internal network for the server farm where we are going to keep our servers, and a virtual server network where the outside clients will connect. Clients from Untrust or from internet are going to connect. So let's get started with the F5 setup. So first thing first, you are going to go ahead to F5 website that is here, and you are going to download the Big IP F5 Virtual Edition software. So let's go and do that. So you can see here we can do software download. That is the quick links. If I click the software download, going to open up downloads.f5.com, and here you are going to create your uh, account so that you can log in and download the F5. This is a dummy account I have created, and you can see that I have successfully logged in. So we can now go ahead and find downloads. And here we can download any version of F5 that is starting from version 11 till version 16. Most of our new deployments, we are starting with version 15 or 16, depending upon the customer applications. Let's go ahead and click on 16. So what we are going to do is we are going to download Virtual Edition. We'll click here. Yes, I accept the software license agreement. And here we are going to download basically a VMware OVA file that is about 2 GB. In case you are not using VMware Workstation, you can actually download it from for all other set of virtualization tools. It's for the KVM, for the Oracle virtualization, and Hyper-V, anything, you name it, you have it here. You can download it. So what we are going to download is VMware OVA. So we can going to click here and it's going to start the download on OVA. Here we are going to select the mirror and which is closest to you. You will click and the download will start. I have already downloaded the version 16. It is already available with me, 16.0.1.1. That is not the latest, but it's okay. I have already have the version available with me. So all you have to do is just double click and it's going to give you end user license. You have to, of course, you have to accept it. Otherwise, you cannot select next. So we are going to accept it and hit next. And we are going to name it something virtual F5 1, and we are going to store it somewhere obviously. So hit next. So this is the deployment options that you can give it, like 1 CPU, 2 GB of RAMs, 2 CPUs and all that. So let's go with, since it's a lab environment, I'm going with 1 CPU and I'm going to import it. So it's going to do rest everything. It's going to do it for me. So as you can see, it is importing. As you can see, I have virtual F5.1 already there. So I'm going to import another one. So let's go ahead and click again and import one more F5 for our HA setup to work. Again, the same step, name it virtual F5 2, put it in the same path, 1 CPU, import, and this is the second F5 we are going to import. As you can see, I have both of my F5 been deployed, and let's make a folder. So I have both of them under one folder, virtual F5 lab. and I will move both of my machines here. So here we go. So now comes the main thing that we need to discuss first, that we are going to be needing one, two, three, and four networks. So our F5 will be added with four networks. We are going to make four networks in the VMware Workstation for management, internal network, HA, and for DMZ or untrust or for internet, where we're going to keep our virtual servers. So if you click here on one of the server and you do settings, right click and settings, and you're going to see we have four network adapters in here that are all obviously in the bridged mode, and we have to change them. So how we are going to make the four network adapters that would be different for us. So I'll show you that. You have to go here in the edit, virtual network editor, and here you are going to create the new network adapters. As you can see, I have already created. I will show you how to create a new one. So you have to do here is just change setting. Yes. Okay. So what I did is I added a new network and give it any one of these, whichever may suit you, like let's say 19. Press OK. So there is a new network created. A new network card has been created, like VM19. You can change the name to whatever you want. For example, you want to say it as management. You are creating a management network. So let's say management. And for all HA management and internal network, all of these are going to be your host only networks. So the management network here, so we need to assign it with some network. So here you go, there is a network assigned here. Depend upon you what you want, so you can assign it the network 10.10.10.0, and it's a /24 network. You want to run DHCP or you don't want to run DHCP, so you can uncheck this. So you will click apply. Since I'm already using the same subnet on VMnet 10, so it doesn't allow me to use it. So let's say I'll use 10.10.10.11. So and apply. So you are going to see it's going to create the network. See, it has already created a network card for me that is on VMnet 19. Name is management and it's 10.10.10.11.0/24. And I'm not running any DHCP service over there. So you can see like this. So how this is how we are going to create other networks. I'll show you one by one. My HA network is 10.10.10.0 and there's no DHCP running. You don't need require DHCP on over that. This is the management network. I don't even require any DHCP here, and you can see 172.15.1.0. This is my management network, and let's give it a minute since I have made a change. Similarly, my internal network, that is also a host only network, and it has 172.15.2.0. And I have a VMnet 0 that is basically I want to connect it, I want to bridge it with my external network. Uh, it's better not to do it automatic, but if you do automatic, it will automatically bridge it to the any external network. For example, if you're using Wi-Fi to connect to internet, it will use that. Otherwise, you have to choose it from here. Let's say in my case, it's RTL 8821, my Wi-Fi card, and I'm going to click it and I'm going to bridge it with my Wi-Fi card, VMnet 0. So if you press apply, so this will be your untrust network or your internet network where clients are going to connect. Press OK. And that is all for the network cards. So let's go ahead and change the network cards. In F5, these cards are going to be represented with numbers. So starting from the top is for the first one is for the management. This is the management card. So I'm going to use custom network and I'm going to use HA management. The second one, obviously, you can use it for uh, internal network or HA. It's up to you. And the third one is for HA. And the fourth one is obviously bridged automatic, and it's going to use whatever you are using, like a cable, a physical cable, or a Wi-Fi. So if you want to use the network you bridged, so you do custom and VMnet 0 that you actually bridged it with your Wi-Fi card, you can use it, or you can keep bridged here. It will automatically use the same one uh, that you are connecting with the internet. So this is all you have to do: management, internal, HA, and automatic. So what we are going to do is we are going to power on our F5, and we can do simultaneously, we can power both of them on. So power on and power on. So your F5, both of your F5 will be powered on. So you can see the version, Big IP LTM Virtual Edition. Okay, you can ignore this. Uh, After the power on, first thing we are going to do is we are going to create a management IP from where we can access our F5's GUI. So we have our F5 ready. So let's log in into the F5. The username is root and the password is default. The first time it's going to ask you to change the password. So the current password is default, and the new password we are going to keep at complex password at 12. So we have changed the password to complex password at 12. Okay. So the first thing first, what we are going to do here is we are going to change the management IP. So for that purpose, there is a utility here that is called config. We're going to run that utility config, and so as you can see, we are running the utility, the config utility. Here we are going to set the management IP for F5. Obviously, it's IPv4. So we are going to change the IP. Use automatic configuration for the IP. No, we're not going to use automatic configuration. We are going to change it manually. So this is the default IP that has been assigned. So we are going to change it to 172.15.1 dot, let's say 10, or 172.10, let's say. Oh, okay. No, it's going to be a /24 network. Yes. Okay. So this is my first network setup. Let's confirm it. HTTPS 12.15 1.10. Similarly, I'm going to set up another IP for the second F5. Let's see how we can do that. I run config utility and IP version 4. Need to set up IP version 4, hit enter. I'm not going to use the default one. So it's going to be 172.15.1.20. Okay. 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 The default route is 172.15.1.1. Yes. Now we will see why it's not working. And there is one bug I know that we can you disable the adapter and enable the adapter one time, and it's normally starts working. And go into the advanced network settings and more network and adapter options. I'm using Windows 11, so it's a little bit different. You will be using Windows 10, so you know how to reach here. So this is the management network, HA network, internal network. Uh, all the networks are here. So what we are going to do is we are going to disable it and we are going to enable it back. So let's check now. See, it's working. This is the trick. It normally happens. I've noticed this is when it happens is when you have a Wireshark installed in your system, and sometimes your system goes to sleep and comes back. These adapters will not respond. So what you have to go is just go and disable them and enable them one time. That's it. So let's check it out. Now you have your perfectly. You can see the GUI of your F5. So here it is. And the second one, it's 2.15.1.20. And you can see both of them working perfectly fine. Now, here's another bug that I have discovered, and probably it may not be in the newer editions, but here it is. So we are going to use the same password, admin. Here we are going to use admin and the same password that we set for root. So that was complex password at 12, and you see here it asks you to change the password. So and I have changed the password, and when I will hit save, it's not going to change the password. Okay, see, it's going to authentication failed, password expired, update password management. So it's not going to change the password. Whatever you will do, it will not change the password. So there's an easy way out from here is you go back to your VM, and all you have to do is run tmsh modify auth password, and which password you want to change the password for admin, and you hit enter. You are going to set the new password, confirm the new password. Okay, it has set the new password. You are going to follow the same here, tmsh, this is tmos shell, modify auth password for admin, enter. Okay, it has changed the password for both of the F5s. So let's go back, and I'm not going to do this. I'm going to hit cancel, and I'm going to use the password here. So you see, it's working. This is a minor bug. I don't know if F5 is going to fix it sooner or later in any other version. I'm not sure. So this is how it's avoidable. You can avoid it. So admin, and you see both of my F5 GUI is working. So the first thing first, what you are going to do is you are going to put the license. There is no license on your device. You're going to activate a license here. So what you're going to do is you are going to use a trial license. And how you're going to get a trial license is you go to the F5. You have already created your user. So what you're going to do is you are going to request for Big IP and Big IQ virtual editions, get a free trial. And what's going to happen is you are going to log in. the same account that you have created in the when you were downloading 5. And what you are going to do is you are going to request. You are currently evaluating the security product. Okay, yes, your job function, whatever you want. Uh, and you want to hit which trial would you like. We are going to use big IP virtual edition. So how many license you want? Since we are using 2, we can request for 2. If you want 3, you can request maximum 3 licenses. So here it's going to ask you for 3 black texts. So 3, 5, and 3. And I'm going to request license, and it is going to send me an email uh, to my the registered email address, and I'm going to receive my licenses. So this is how it works. Once I receive the license, how I'm going to license my F5 is I will go back to my F5. Let's dig into a license. By the way, don't use these licenses. These are already used, so you will not get any benefit out of that. So you cannot use them. So what we are going to do is we are going to copy one of the license file, copy it and put it here in the base registration. And what we are going to do here is we are going to select manual and hit next. So what it is going to do is F5 is going to generate a dossier, uh, and you can copy the dossier to a website called activatef5.com. Activate F5 registration keys. You are going to put the dossier here, or you can upload the dossier, whichever way suits you. So see, it has generated a dossier. I'm going to select and copy, or you can download and upload the file. So easier, whichever way easier for you. Hit next. I have read the license agreement and hit next. Here you have your license file. So you can download, or you can actually select all and copy this. And you are going to go back to your F5 and put the license key here. This is the license, and you put the license here and hit next. And F5 will evaluate this, and it's going to restart the GUI, the web server of F5. And what is going to happen is your F5 is going to be licensed for next 30 days. So you have license for another 30 days. Similarly, you can do the same thing on the second node. Once it's rebooted, you will have it as licensed. So it's already rebooted, and it's actually verifying our license. It's going to take another few minutes, and after that we will have our F5 online and active. As you can already see, it's been seen as online active back there, but it will be online and active in you will have access to GUI. Second F5 is still rebooting. As you can see, I have access to my F5, and here you see my F5 is licensed now. Online, active, and it's licensed. You can go and check the license online. It's from today till August 19th. I'm licensed with all these active modules that I can use. Now the next step you are going to do is you are going to do a resource provisioning. What you are going to use your F5 for. So right now I'm in a lab scenario. I'm going to use it for only for the LTM. So I'm going to use it for the LTM only. Next. But of course you can increase the RAM, and you can assign more CPUs, and then you can use other modules as well. On the virtual edition, you can actually fine tune it. You can increase the resources. So you're going to generate a server certificate for F5, and we'll hit next. We'll not change anything. We'll hit next. If you want to renew, you can renew. You want to name it differently, you can do. So now what we are going to do is we are going to change the time zone. For F5, it is very necessary that you should have an NTP server, especially in HA configuration. So let's say I'll change the time zone to my own time zone, that is Asia and what you okay. So we will put the same password one more time. Mm, and we are going to put a host name that is in our case is virtual F51. Okay, so we are going to hit next, and it's going to save this configuration and provision the LTE module, and we'll have access to our F5. We can start with the HA configuration. There is a wizard here that you can use. It will guide you step by step, and you can actually create an HA pair setup for F5, or you can manually go and create networks and all that, VLANs, and assign IPs, self IPs up there. So let's go and follow the wizard. So let's hit next. This is our first F5. And how we are going to fail over, it's going to be a network method. Yes. Next. Okay, so now we are going to create VLANs. In F5, self IP in HA, the self IP is the IP that is local for that particular F5 instance. For example, F51 will have its own virtual IP, self IP, sorry, and F52 will have its own self IP. There is another IP here listed called floating IP. And the floating IP is actually during the HA setup, floating IP will be assigned to the active node. And in some scenario that active node goes down, the floating IP will move to the standby node. So this is the difference. So here we are going to create first of all, we're going to create the VLANs. As I've already mentioned you, F5 will have interfaces like 1.1, 1.2, and 1.3. Apart from the first interface that we have seen on uh, VMware, that is for our management, rest are 1.1, 1.2, and 1.3 respectively. That's what I'm going to display here. Uh, so you can see our internal network is 1.1. Sorry, it's 172.15.2.0, HA network 10.10.10.0, and this is our external network. So 1.1 is our internal network. So we are going to create a self IP that 172.15.2.10. This is our, let's say, and it's going to be /24 allow default. So basically allow default means that all the default ports that F5 uses will be allowed in this particular self IP. You can do allow none, so no port will be allowed on this self IP. This is a port lockdown settings, and if you want to allow only 443, so you can only access HTTPS over this one. So for this lab setup, we'll go for default one. And let's say the floating IP will be on 72.15.2.15, and floating IP will be same in case of F51 and F52. So we have allowed default on this as well. So this is our first network. VLAN tagging, we'll keep it untagged. You know the difference between tagged and untagged interfaces. Untagged interfaces, you are passing only one VLAN traffic over this network link, and what tagged you use while you are having a trunk configuration. So we'll add this. So this is our first VLAN configuration that is for our internal network configuration. So we'll hit next. 1.1 was our internal network. So we are going to create VLAN external. So let's say we'll create VLAN external like 192.168.1.10 for argument's sake. And net mask is 255.255.0. Allow none because it's a public facing VLAN. So we are not allowing anything on this VLAN. So default gateway will be 8.1.1 and the floating IP will be 15. But well, you don't even require a floating IP on this VLAN, but okay, you can add. So what is the interface here? 1.3 is the interface. Tagging is untagged, and I will add it. And next, I will hit next. Create VLAN HA. That is for our HA. 10.10.10.1. Let's say this is the self IP, and the mask is it's a and it's our second network untagged. So this is our VLAN configuration completed on our first F5. Uh, I've told you in the beginning that NTP is crucial, means you need an NTP source to have a sync. For example, if two F5 instances that are were running in HA, there is a time difference of 3 seconds or more than 3 seconds, they stop what you call stop syncing. So it's really crucial that you have been running an NTP server. In my case, I'm running an NTP server on my local machine, that is this one. So it's quite handy and I can use it easily. So net time is a good tool. Next, similarly, we'll go and we will set up our second virtual F5 uh, and we will create all the networks and thing. Similarly, for internal network, I'll be using 172.15.2.20 and net mask is 255.24 and floating IP is same. VLAN tagging auto. This is our first untagged. Add next. You pay attention that it is writing here external VLAN configuration 192.168.1.20 net mask 24 allow none at 1.15 default gateway, sorry, default gateway is 1.1 15 auto VLAN. It will automatically give a tag VLAN tag, so it was 1.3 untagged, sorry, untagged. Add next, and of course our HA VLAN, that is 10.10.2.55 auto, and it was second interface untagged, and we'll hit next. Our NTP server, hit next. If you have a DNS, you can add the DNS here and hit next. Bind forwarder or DNS server or domain, you can add you can create this configuration based on your requirement. So we are going to configuration sync. We are going to use the internal network or HA network for the configuration sync. So let's use HA network. Okay, and here is the summary for management failover. We'll hit next, keep it as it is. Secondary local mirror, will be our internal network, primary will be HA network, or the way you want to configure it, you can use it. It doesn't really matter. So you have your both of your F5 being set up for the VLAN configuration. So now we hit next, and now you have to configure the HA. For the HA, we'll hit next one more time, and here we are going to add the next F5. So the IP for the F5 is 1.20, administrator username admin, and the administrator password is complex password at 12, and we'll retrieve the device information. And you can see we have retrieved the device information. It's our F5. Yes. Yes, it's the name, and this is how what it's going to name the device sync failover group, and we're going to add the device. And now it's going to connect the second node, and it's going to add the device group failover there as well. So you will have now an HA configuration. As you can see, it's disconnected, online active, but it's disconnected. Now you can see it's in sync as well. So awaiting the initial sync. So this is how you configured an F5 in an HA mode. So you can see this particular F5 has become online standby while the other one has become online active. You can go, you can make it this one standby and the other one active. It all depends on how you are going to configure it. So So this is all you are going to do. And after that, the next steps are you are going to create virtual servers and pools, nodes, and you are going to create a load balancing methods, and we are going to use it as virtual servers. So that we will discuss in another video. I hope this video was informative for you, and please like and subscribe my channel. And for any questions, please do comment. I will reply as soon as possible. Uh, Thank you, folks, and have a very good day. Take care. Bye bye.